Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This week I've got a design news video for you. I like to make these whenever something big happens on the internet that gets a lot of designers talking so that I can give you an update and also share my thoughts on the topic at hand as well. So, earlier on this week, Dropbox, which you probably know as a cloud file storage company, they released a rebrand, and boy did the internet react to it. The old Dropbox brand was very clean. It was mainly white and blue are the colors that spring to mind, and they also did a really good job with little illustrations to bring some character and some personality to things like error messages. They're all about syncing your files, keeping them secure, so their brand projected this idea of safety, of security, and also simplicity, you know, the app being really easy to use. And in contrast to that, this is the new brand that they released. With this new brand, this new focus, they seem to be going all in on the creative niche. I bet that they would have done a bunch of like market user research and discovered that a lot of designers and other creative types were people who were using their product because, let's be honest, us creative types are the ones who have big files that don't fit on our computers, so we need some sort of cloud storage solution, right? So they've picked this niche and gone all in on it in this idea of creative energy. If we put these two brands next to each other, we can see that they look and feel very, very different from each other. And just to start off with, I want to point out that this is a really good example of how a brand is so much more than a logo. They have updated the logo. They said that it's more about surfaces now than it is about being a literal box, but let's be honest, it still pretty much looks like a box. But because a brand is much more than just a logo, they've changed pretty much everything else around that logo, which makes for a very, very different feeling brand. Let's dive into it and take a closer look at the pieces that make up this brand that they've represented on their Dropbox.design page, and I'll share my thoughts on it. The first thing that stood out to me when I looked at this page was the colors and how different they were from the clean white, you know, light backgrounds and blue and green highlight colors that the old Dropbox brand used. These feel very, very different. It's not like a color palette where everything feels very connected and cohesive. It does feel a little bit chaotic, let's be honest. Some of these color combinations I don't think I would have ever thought or, you know, would want to put together, like this forest green and salmon pink, for example. It's not to my taste, but do you know what? I like that they've tried something new. I don't particularly love all of these colors, but I love what they're doing with them. I love the idea behind it. It's kind of a running joke in the tech world that every tech company is blue, like has a blue logo, because blue means security, blue means safety. So we're kind of getting to a point where many tech companies' websites are looking very similar because they're all using white backgrounds with blue as the accent color. So, in thinking about that, I like that Dropbox have gone a different route because they were this company that had the white background and the blue as the accent color. I like that they're trying something new and bringing something different to this world of tech design, which can get very samey. Something that I don't quite know if I can get on board with is this typeface. It feels very 90s, like quite postmodern or something, this sort of extended letter forms and very rounded. And this bit here in particular, that today we're announcing the biggest change, it kind of looks like the text has been like compressed, like it's been flattened or something. I don't know. I don't love it, and I don't think it's particularly easy to read, especially when it gets close together like that. They've said that they chose this because it has so many fonts within it and it allows them to speak in a variety of tones, but I kind of feel like a brand should always be speaking in the same tone, or at least, you know, the same range of tones, maybe not 259 different tones. The last piece of the brand puzzle that they mentioned on this landing page is the illustration style. Now, Dropbox has always been famous for its illustration, and they've always paid close attention to it and put the effort in. So I do like that they're sticking with the attention that they give to that, because that is quite a unique part of their old brand. So individually, each of these things are very interesting on their own, but the way they've combined them is particularly unique and not something that you really expect to see this many colors on a web page, for example. I think that this unexpectedness of it all is what created this pretty extreme reaction online, if I'm being honest. There was tweets asking if it was a joke, saying it was an insult to design, saying that it was overwhelming and offending their eyes. And while these color combinations and the typeface in particular may not be to my personal taste, I really don't like the way that I saw a lot of designers reacting to this, because what we have to remember is that there were people who created this, right? It could have been people like you or me making this thing. Imagine seeing, like, posting your work online, releasing something new, and seeing that reaction to it. Yes, I understand that we should all have a thick skin and that design is subjective, not everyone's gonna like it, but Come on, some of those reactions are pretty mean. The only valid critique that I saw and that I agree with is that this new design seems to focus more on being hip and cool than it does on being smart and safe. However, I think a lot of what people who are reacting negatively to this are forgetting is that you're seeing this as the brand for Dropbox as we know it now, whereas actually it's the brand for Dropbox as they're going to be in the future going forward. There's been landing pages pop up that advertise a presentation tool, that advertise a design tool. They're pretty vague and there's no like screenshots of the tools themselves. And then at the end, they tell you what they're thinking of charging for this and you can sign up to be notified if it becomes available. So that's really interesting. It seems like they're trying to gauge people's interests in these sorts of things. Overall, this all feels very new and like a fresh start for Dropbox, which I guess is kind of what they're going for if they're wanting to be seen differently in people's minds as more than just cloud storage. However, I think they're going to struggle to keep the brand equity, I think is the right word for it, that they've built up over time as being this like safe, easy to use place to keep your files and applying that to this new rebrand. I don't know if the two really connect very well. They have said in regards to their colors that it's something they can dial up to provoke and inspire creative energy, but then in our product where people need to concentrate on their work, we can dial it down. So essentially, if you look at their product, and I don't know if this is where it's going to end up or if there's more changes to come, but inside the product looks pretty much the same. And that makes it feel very different in tone from the new brand. And while their reasoning makes sense, like, yes, I don't want to see all these different colors within the app, that might get confusing. However, I don't really understand that decision from a brand building perspective. Like, in my mind, Dropbox, this redesign that I'm seeing, is separate from the Dropbox that I use on a day-to-day basis. I am excited to see where this goes though, and I'm sorry if you clicked on this video expecting to see me like going on about how much I hate the new design or anything like that, but I honestly don't hate it. Like I said, there's parts of it that are not to my taste and they're not what I would have done, but I love that they're bringing something fresh into the world of tech and I hope they can pull it off. I hope this can be applied to landing pages in a way that projects the feeling of security as well as the creative energy, because both of those things are important when it comes to Dropbox. And I guess we'll all just have to wait and see for that to see what they do with it. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed the update. I definitely want to hear your thoughts. Remember what I said about being mean? Let's not be mean in the comments, let's be constructive. Too many of the tweets that I saw were just gut, emotional reactions rather than a proper design critique. So let's try have a proper design critique down below in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video as well and want to see more design news videos, then make sure you give this one a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button as well so that we can stay in touch. Alright, thanks for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye.